good?
I'm not friends yet.
Wow, man.
I'm planning on it. He what?
Interviewed. So I'm going to take this moment to thank everybody for coming here to the neighborhood, making the drive, OTP outside the perimeter, right? Some of you guys are like, oh my God, it's so far away from downtown. Ah. No, in all seriousness, thank you very much for coming here to the neighborhood. We are a teaching and production studio. We help aspiring creatives become working creatives. So if we can do anything to help you guys in whatever your endeavors may be, then feel free to let us know. We are a safe, fun, and creative space for you guys to come and play, enjoy your creative side, pursue your bliss, whatever your passion might be. If you haven't tried something and you want to, we would love for you to come do that here. If you know somebody that wants to get into voiceover, I teach that. If you want somebody that does on-camera stuff, I don't do on-camera stuff. I have other people that do on-camera stuff, and they're award-winning talents and actors, and they've been in the business for decades. So among everybody that comes through the neighborhood, we are all working talents and actors, and so we want you guys to not just be aspiring talents, but working talents. So that's why everything we teach kind of has that emphasis on make sure you get paid for your efforts. You guys are extremely creative, and people will take advantage of that, and we don't want that to happen. We want you getting jobs. I mean, that's kind of what today is about, right? So you had a deadline. You had a hard deadline, right? We had 4 hours, what, like 3.5 to 3 hours actually, to try a new animation program, and we're going to see how that worked out. Now the cool thing is you also got to work with the voice talent, and then the voice talents got to work with the animators, so you guys hopefully gained a greater appreciation for what each of you brings to the table. And so that way, in the future, maybe you guys can collaborate, maybe you guys can make introductions so that we'll know who does what. And here at the neighborhood right now, we're working on 3 different video games. We've got an app game in development, we've got, and that one's kid-friendly. Come on in! Hello! Welcome! So we've got an app, a children's app game that's in development, featuring unicorns, because who doesn't love unicorns? We've got a PC console game in development that's a blend of Metal Gear Solid meets Grand Theft Auto meets House of Cards. And then we've also got an augmented reality game in development. In addition to that, we've got an audio podcast that has, we've got 12 episodes in, and we've got over 5 million listens or views just off the website. So we're actively trying to get that one animated and funded, or funded and then animated. Yes, it's disco break time. All right, I like that. And then in addition to that, we've got our first SAG short that we just filmed that is now currently in post-production. And then we've got another, that's on camera. And even though I said I didn't do on camera, I actually did do on camera for that. And then we've got a feature film that's in pre-production right now. So we are a production studio as well. And then we're a working studio, so we do commercials, corporates, corporate narration and things like that. And so as you guys are getting into the workforce and industry, you're going to be doing commercial, corporate work, a lot of it, because that's what pays the bills. And then hopefully you'll get your passion projects made at the same time. All right, and so think about that over these next several months and years, and realize that you can use us as a resource, and then all the people that we know as a resource. Okay? Cool. Nothing has really officially been introduced yet, right? Yeah. So I mean, this is just me talking to you guys and welcoming you, because I mean, this is a standing room only, literally. So this is great.
Imagine a VO guy who talks.
Yes, exactly. So I'm very excited to see your projects, and Ciaran is about to kick things off, right?
we're gonna do a little something, that's for sure.
Okay, sure, absolutely. So I'm gonna wipe the sweat from my brow, and then grab my water, and then step to the side. Ciaran's gonna talk about the ground rules, about what you guys did, and we're gonna review everything, and then we are going to judge blindly. There will be no favorites, right? You're all our favorites. How about that? All right. Yay! You're all our favorite. You showed up, first of all, so right there, that's, you know, that's a big deal. And we'll see what you guys put together, but we're rooting for all of you. We want you to be successful, okay? All right. So, without further ado, Ciaran, come and take over.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Ciaran Quinn. I'm the learning coordinator with ASIFA-South. I've been hanging around today. You've probably seen me around, maybe asked me questions about this program. And I never got a chance to do like an icebreaker or anything, but that's me. I help out with the workshops. We've done lots of stuff with ASIFA-South. We've done stop motion demonstrations and workshops with Children's Healthcare Atlanta at the Bronze Lens Film Festival. But you're not here to hear about that. You're here to hear about your animations and see them. And we're going to get to that in just a little bit. But before that, I just want to take the second to introduce jurors. Obviously, you've already met Bob Carter because he just came up and stole the show. But also he and his wife September are the ones who are hosting us here at the Neighborhood Studio. It's awesome. It's great. But I want to take a second to introduce our other juror and let him talk about what he does. Mark Simon, come on.
Hi, everybody. So I'm here because I really like busting balls, and I love getting after people about what they do. No, I love everything about animation. I love everything about production. I work in both live action and animation, literally on a daily basis. Currently, I'm the story artist on The Walking Dead, thus this. And I am also head of story on a stop-motion animated flick for Netflix, which I can't talk about the title or even who's in it yet. And it's killing me because I can't wait to tell people. Just, if you see a cool stop-motion around Christmas on Netflix, that's probably it. But I've been in the industry now for 33, 34 years, something like that. I now have over 5,000 production credits. I've written 10 books on the industry. Storyboarding is my mainstay. That's what I do mostly. I also do a lot of directing for animation. I got my start as a second unit director for Spielberg on Sequest long before most of you were born, which screw all of you. But I love production. I love everything behind it. I remember what it was like getting into it. I love working with voice actors, and particularly good voice actors, because I've worked with bad ones, and it's like pulling teeth. It's painful for the director as well as the person on the other side of the mic. But a good voice actor can bring so much to it. I remember actually one time I was directing an animated pilot, and one of the actors didn't show up that we had hired. Not a good way to work your career. And we were doing a lot of the production at Dave School, which is digital animation and visual effects at Universal down in Orlando. And one of the students wanted to be a voice actor, and he had kind of a neat sounding voice. I said, well, I want you to be the villain because our guy didn't show up. I need to record it now so we can stay on schedule. So he came in, he did a read, and it was just a pretty normal read. It was so fun to work with him and push him. I'm right on the other side of the mic, and I'm like, more, more, and I'm in his face, and I'm yelling, and he's yelling. By the time he was done, he was beet red, sweating profusely. The best voice of the entire cast. Even though everyone else is professional, he got so into it, and the way he and I were working back and forth, and if you're lucky enough to work with a director who's really with you, the energy you guys can get going, it was amazing. Every time I watch that piece now, it still hits me. It's like, oh my God, he was so good, because he allowed himself to let go and just go with me and let me push him to a point he had never gone before with it, and it was incredible. So that's what I'm looking for. Incredible. High bar. I have no idea what I'm about to see unless I'm doing any of this. That might have just scared the hell out of all of you. It's like, we only have 3 hours. Like, all right, welcome to the real world. We often don't have much more time than that anyway. And that should scare you. But it's also fun. You get the most satisfaction out of when you're on the precipice and you're pushed to do something you've never done. And when you accomplish it, it's incredible. And hopefully a lot of you got that out of what I'm about to see today, and a long career of doing even more. So anyway, I look forward to seeing all of your work.
All right.
All right, so. Oh, September, sorry, yes. Oh, yeah, bring it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm taking care of a really red-haired stepchild. Hi. Thank you. My name is September Carter, and I'm a voice talent. I've been one since 2007, so it seems like a long time, but I guess not really. Kind of stuck to some other people in the industry. My thing is, I started my career here in Atlanta, and I never left. There's a lot of swimming against the streams to make sure that you are a successful voice talent, not beating a path to New York or LA. But I have always been like really, really driven kind of to do my own thing, my own way. And especially if I saw something being done a lot. Well, I was like, okay, well, if everyone's doing that, I wonder what's over on this side of stuff. And so that's how I started, February 2007. September 9th, 2007, 6 months later, I was doing my very first big gig, and that was live announcing the MTV VMAs in Las Vegas. So I know, right? I know, it was really great until like, it was really like the crappiest VMAs ever. We had drunk Britney and all that fun stuff. So yeah, like that's the one thing I do have is, you know, everyone's like, oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was great VMAs, fantastic. So that was when I got my start. I love voiceover. Voiceover has given me everything in my life. Before I was even a voice talent, I used to call up this radio station and this really hot DJ. I loved him so much. We request songs, we became really good phone friends, lost contact over the years, but he had told me, you know, I've got this really great voice, you should be a voice talent. I thought he meant a DJ, and I was like, I don't want to be at 2 a.m. at Ballyhoo's on a Wednesday night, just not for me. And so I actually became a vet tech, and I loved that job, and I think it kind of like prepared me a lot to become a voice talent, because you're dealing with, you know, rabid animals and people who are, you know, kind of after your job all the time. But no, I was a Mauled-Browed Rottweiler, cool scars, and as I lay healing, I was like, I need a safer job. I'm doing voice talent, and that's why I started from that DJ that told me that I was good enough. And very luckily for me, after I'd been a voice talent for maybe 2 years, all of a sudden I got contacted on Facebook. This guy's like, I saw your website. Are you that same September I used to talk to? Yes, I am. We had dinner to lunch 2 days later.
June 25th.
Yes, June 25th, thank you. And the next year I was pregnant, getting married. So, and now we're 3 kids in.
Where'd the neighborhood come from?
I know, right? The
What about the neighborhood, though?
Oh,
What's that about?
our neighborhood. Neighborhood is actually my idea. I wanted it to be collaborative. My whole thing was to make sure that this was, we were training colleagues, not competition. There's so many teachers who do not teach you how to put their lessons into getting work. You know, it's always about the next thing, the next thing, the next level, breathing, technique. They're important, but you have to know how to get your own stuff. Don't be reliant, because I was still being sold that whole myth of all you need is an agent. Just get that agent and you're going to be set. It's a lie. It's a big lie. So that's why we started the neighborhood, and that's why we invite all sorts of different people to come and teach. Not just, you know, people who are not voice teachers, but we actually teach, you know, other voice talents to come in and teach, other voice coaches to come and teach. We know that there are different, multiple ways to do things. In fact, we disagree on quite a number of things, and yet we are still both successful in our own way. I'm more successful as a commercial talent. I work for Michael Kors. I'm the voice of the Amazon Kindle text-to-speech function. A whole bunch of other stuff as well, and I'm a very successful voice talent so that Bob can play and be a character voice. Congratulations. He's got more juice than I am, and he's got action figures, but
Right.
you know, I pay the bill. So
Good night, Joe.
exactly. My fight money. My fight money. For me, honestly, just even being here, you know, everyone talks about what they're looking for. Truly, showing up, for me, when people are like, what's the hardest, you know, thing? What's the thing that's holding a lot of people back? Netflix. Oh my God. Because are you going to go to do this thing? Or are you going to binge the next season of whatever it is you're watching? Netflix has derailed a lot of creative careers. So the fact that you're showing up is wonderful. An ability to play, and I say that because I have a hard time with that. I didn't know how to play until I was 35, and I met my hubby. He taught me how to play. So I admire anyone who's able to just throw it out there and just lay it out. Because honestly, now being a director, I love being able to tell somebody, pull it back. That's so much easier than trying to push you off the cliff, making you fly. A lot easier pulling you back. I know, right? Motherphone's agreeing with me. So that for me, I love the fact that you know, go big, go big, go, you know, over the top as much as you can. Play to your strengths when you're first starting out. Honestly, we always talk about the difference between voice talents and voice actors. I'm a voice talent. I'm shades of myself. I'm more comfortable with shades of myself. Bob is a voice actor. He does not show his true self to anybody. So he likes to play all these different parts. So that to me is kind of like the difference of voice actor versus voice talent. And even now, the acting parts I do are all AI. with no emotion, so still kind of the same thing. But yeah, no, honest to God, just that you're here. I'm glad that you're here. That's the first step to making a lot of money at some point. We hope. But yeah, thanks so much for coming out, guys. We really do appreciate every single person that's here. It's a great opportunity to just even to be able to talk to you, even if just answer a couple questions that make you feel like, yeah, I can actually do this. You know, you can do this. You can absolutely do this, and you don't have to go broke doing it. So I'm glad that you came here tonight, and good luck.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so those are our jurors. We're still getting things ready in the back. We're having some trouble with some of the presentations, so we might have to take a pause for a bit. But that's ASIFA-South. We have tons of like volunteer opportunities coming up if you want to help us out. We have our monthly mixers as well. This last Wednesday of every month at Joystick Game Bar if you just want to come out and mix and mingle sort of thing.
What do we learn at the mixers?
What do we learn at the mixers? Well, we have an industry guest each month. Last month we had someone from Primal Screen who came out and was talking about all the different promos and ads and stuff they worked on, talked about their experience in the industry and how they got into working at Atlanta. And it's just, yeah, it's a great way to ask questions, ask burning questions, even show off your demo reels or portfolios.
Speaking of asking questions,
yes.
If you need to pause, we'll do a Q&A when you get done with your little thing here.
Thank you so much. So yeah, that's what we do each month. I host them, so come down, see me, come chat with some of us, and yeah, that's a great idea. Actually, turn over for a quick Q&A. Be right back, promise you. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
We've got time. You probably have questions. We
Yeah.
cover 3 completely different areas
Yes.
and a lot of crossover areas. So
Yes.
anything,
Ask us anything.
anything,
It's like Reddit.
We can.
Ask us anything.
but not that.
Yes.
You mentioned like the thing about getting an agent isn't the final thing.
Mhm.
Like, so
No.
I'm wondering like, what do you do next? Like, how do you continue to pursue it?
When you're first starting out?
Yeah.
For me, it's again about personal responsibility, like having that, like, okay, I'm gonna make my own work. So locally here in Atlanta, trade shows. Go where the work is. Don't go to conferences for voiceover. Everyone's there for the same reason. And if you're like, oh, I want to go for the camaraderie, great. Go to the hotel bar that they're having it in, have a drink, and camaraderise. That's fine, but not for work. I prefer to say, what is it that you're interested in? Like, what would you want to voice for?
I think that I can do more commercial stuff as well. I think that I sort of
Okay, but more specific.
Yeah.
Like
What
makeup,
companies?
or do you want to do toys, or what do you want to do? Like what?
toys. Let's say
Toys.
toys.
Okay, so go online and find on Eventbrite when the toy fair is coming through, the new toys, and it'll be at Cobb Galleria, and you can go and walk around. Hi, my name is Mackenzie. I'm a voice actor. I really love this toy. You have a voice designated for it? Yeah, I'd love to be a resource for you.
And you're going to meet the marketing director or the promotions director or the people that can make the hiring decisions for the next voice of their commercials or their marketing, right?
Right.
So you're going to do that for a lot of different types of conventions, different trade shows.
And you're a minority, and so there's actually a thing called the National Supplier Minority List, and you can actually go. I was in Chicago 2 years ago, and you go and you walk to BMW, Starbucks, Disney, Turner, Coke, all these different places.
Caterpillar,
Yeah, all these things.
Comcast. No, not Comcast. Was it
The other one, but I can't think of the name of
what are the evil cable companies? Not AT&T.
Time Warner.
Time Warner.
But no, as we walked around, we were able to I think we were probably the only voice talents that walked the
Yeah.
floor, and we are on a national suppliers list now for all those different companies.
But being a women-owned business is very popular right now. It's extremely, extremely popular.
That's why I
which is
own
why the
some.
neighborhood is 51% woman-owned business. Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's connections. Get out there and hustle. I mean, almost every job I get is because I get my face in front of people. I don't email. I'll call to follow up. I get my face in front of people. I show up. I make sure they know who I am, and I'm ready to do a demo. You know, in my case, I'm showing them my storyboard work. In your case, it's your voice, and it's you. But you've got to get to know people. You get involved. You know, what you were talking about is great. You go and you talk about it. You don't be a wallflower. Oh, I went to this event, nothing happened. Well, not if you're standing against the wall and watching shit. No, you've got to actually tell people be direct. I'm a voice talent and I want to do this kind of work. Who should I talk to? Well, I'm the person. Great, can I get your card? I'd love to, can we go get a drink? be proactive as much as possible. I mean, when I got my first agent, when I was art directing, it didn't do anything for me except lose 10%. I still negotiated. I ended up firing him because I was finding all the jobs and I negotiated my rate. All he did was sign the paperwork afterwards. Like, why am I paying you 10%? Now, I'm not saying agents aren't good. A lot of them are really great, and their job is to get you much more than 10% they're going to take from you. All right. You do need them at times because they can be the asshole and not you. Yeah. So
they're objective and they want money.
Right.
And so because you are creative and you will work for free, right? We'll all work for free. We love to create. They can be objective about things and they can get that money for you.
Right.
And but again, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And they know other things. Like if in the contract, rather than you just get paid session rate, they'll also make sure that it's a 6-month buyout. And then if it goes into this or if it gets redistributed here, you get extra fees. The things that you might not know about, they're going to make sure they negotiate all that stuff in. So it's a lot more than just the initial fee, but it's longevity of the kind of money that you can make. All that goes into it. But it's still you hustling.
Yes.
Right.
And also, it's not just one agent. September, how many agents do you have?
14.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids had 3 when they were actors. Yeah.
But it's also because you don't have to globally. Yeah, I have you know, agents in Germany and Hong Kong and all over the world, because what we do, we can work all over the world. You know, we're always open. The booth's always here. So whenever you're working, you know, we have companies in Greece, Sierra Leone that we don't talk about. We happen to be the voices of the largest.
You did that job, not me.
Well, it's money. We needed money.
Whatever.
We needed formula. Formula was expensive. But no, we're the voices of the largest rock station in Istanbul, Turkey.
Yes, Power Excel.
We're
That's
never
the way you
gonna
say
go.
it, Power Excel.
Excel, yes.
Yeah. We also do Greek wedding videos, which is a lot of fun.
What? I know, not, wait, because Ciaran, that means a whole lot of different things.
Great wedding videos and baby baptism videos. It's a lot of fun.
I'm saying,
Greece.
No, not
Doing
Greek. Not Greek,
Thank you.
but
That's-
Greece.
thank
All right,
you.
you had a question in the back.
Oh, just back to what you guys were saying about walking to trade shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Guys, that advice is golden right there. But taking it another step, have something with you. I used to walk around with a bag of preloaded flash drives. My demo was on it. Anything else they wanted to see on it. Have something to leave that person put in their hand, or be able
Always
to
have a leave behind.
Yeah, so be able to
Even if
phone
it's
them,
just
let you
business
transfer
cards.
link, anything. Yeah, leave them with something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know. I make sure people know what I do in every way.
Right.
Zach.
In terms of directing, what do you all find as a resource helps you when it comes to directing?
good talent. I mean, you mean finding talent?
No, just in
Or-
terms of like different projects and stuff like that. What process do you have when it comes
Practice.
to directing? Just practice?
Practice. Here's one of the big things that, in fact, I just caught one of my kids doing it yesterday. I said, because he's got a job interview on Tuesday, I said, well, make sure this is on your resume. He goes, but I didn't get paid for that. And I went, what difference does it make? It's experience. You should never talk about if you got paid or not for something. Did you do it? Then you did it. There's really nothing else there. You either did it or you didn't. If you did, it's experience. So get yourself experience. If you look at like Robert Rodriguez, he didn't get paid for doing his first $2,500 movie, but it got him a big deal, right? Because it was experience. He did it for himself and then got it out there, and now he's one of our biggest directors. So experience. If you can't find it, like you were saying, do it for yourself.
I research a lot because it's honestly it was a new thing for me later in life. So I would find movies that I liked and would actually like study the breakdown. Why did I like that? What was appealing about it? Did I like the angles? Was it the lighting? Was it use of color or not? Those different things. How do you place things in perspective? How do you show someone's powerful? How, even if they're very short compared to the person who's next to them. That kind of stuff. That kind of thing is beyond. It's really, really helpful for me to see someone else break down like just a scene so that I can kind of gather that skill on my own to kind of make sure that I have that eye to go, oh, okay. Because I will admit I'm a very lazy watcher. I don't study things like that. Truly, Silver Bullet was like the best horror movie of all time for me, and I know it sucks ass, but I eat sugar.
I like bad
I
movies.
like sugar, yeah. And so I eat sugar. So yeah, that for me, now that I'm able to see these different techniques and understand that Jeepers Creepers was, scene by scene, copied from Unsolved Mysteries. There's a whole story about that whole unsolved mystery. I mean, if you look at it scene by scene by scene, and it was like, oh my gosh, you ripped off the whole damn thing. So,
Well, one other point on that too, that helped me with studying, because the hard part about studying a good movie is if it's a good movie, you stop studying and you watch it, turn off the audio.
Yes.
Watch a movie, a great movie without the audio, and then you pay attention, is the story still coming across? If the visuals and the acting is so good you don't need to hear it, it's fantastic. And it's much easier to pay attention to the shots and the layout and the lighting and everything else without the audio.
that's why Mad Max was so great. Fury Road. You can do either one of those and it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes, sir.
Watching movies with the sound off, it's it. But I had a quick question. So what's your process when it comes up to storyboarding, if any?
Depends on if we're doing animation or live action, because the story artist, it's a completely different role. Because in TV series for animation, the story artist is the director. It's the visual director.
Okay.
But in live action, our goal is to visually illustrate the director's vision. And that's actually where most live action story artists fail. It's because they just want to go away, do their thing, and bring it back. Like, well, but then that's your vision, not the director's vision. So first thing I do is I read the script for enjoyment. Second thing I do is I read through the script and I pay attention to what it's trying to say, and I start getting some ideas. Third thing I do is I find out who the director is, because in TV, we have a different director every week. So I see who that director is, and I study some of their work, because every director is different on how they tell the story, whether it's stationary camera, how close their close-ups are, is it motion, do they center things, do they offset, whatever it is. I try to study what I can on each director, so when I start storyboarding and sketching it out, it's the way that they are going to see it. And then I ask a shitload of questions when I'm sitting with the director. And I do thumbnails with the director, and I get approvals as I'm thumbnailing. So, well, no, not quite that far apart. Can you bring the camera over this way more? And I'm sketching and sketching. So by the time we get done going over the sequence, I just go away and now I make it pretty so the rest, and add the notes and everything so the rest of the crew can use it. But it's getting into the director's head. And it's everything from sometimes we act it out together so I can see what's going on. Sometimes I have action figures, because I don't play with dolls. I play with action figures, right? And I always have my camera with me, so, where's the camera going to be, right? So that helps. Sometimes it's plot plans. Sometimes we go and walk a location. It's whatever tricks I can do, I'll find how to get into that director's head.
That
Okay,
first
thank
read through, is that, do you have to shut your imagination down just so you can read first, or do you feel like your imagination kind of tries to step onto your...
No, I have to work so fast these days. There's no transition for me. I can just pick up a script and just start reading it, and I can see it in my head.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome.
What about for animation storyboarding?
Oh, wow.
For animation storyboarding, first thing you do is if there's existing episodes, you watch them. If there's existing storyboards or animatics, you go over those so you see what's already been approved. So you get an idea on how the visuals flow in that story. Then you go through all the materials that they give you after you read the script. So they'll give you a packet that has all the character designs, all the prop designs, all the location designs, so you know what you're going to be drawing. And there is a director, but it's generally the voice director, or there's a director who oversees the series, but they don't do shot by shot in animation. They'll give you notes. We want to kind of hit this beat. We want to hit these few things. And then you go away and you do all the breakdowns on your own. And then you come back and then they'll give you notes on what they like and they don't like, and then you go through and you make revisions and then clean it up. So it's a totally different process as far as who's doing the breakdowns and whose actual vision each shot is.
Is it like a series of small illustrations, or do you just
It's
sketch
like
them really quick and then you like...
It's a half-hour TV series, a TV show, which is generally about 21 minutes of animation, not including credits and everything. We're generally going to have around 900 to 1,200 drawings. So it's a lot.
Quick little question about the animation. Is there still a place for hand-drawn animation in this modern time?
Most animation on TV is hand-drawn. It's just drawn on a Cintiq.
Okay. I
For
was
TV. For feature film, in the U.S., it's all CG.
Yeah.
TV, it's still mostly hand-drawn. Yeah.
That's good. Something like that doing.
How much of the animation pipeline is done in the U.S. now compared to what it was 20 years ago?
20 years ago, it's about the same as it is now. It hasn't changed much. It's overseas, except for Canada. If it's a comedy, we generally try to go to Canada as much as possible because they understand the Western storytelling and comedy sensibility. Or if you're going to Korea, South Korea, I should say, North Korea, they have no sense of humor.
Not so much.
But South Korea, because they're all U.S. trained for the last 30, 40 years, so they understand sense of humor, and it's a lot of U.S. supervisors are over there anyway. India and China don't stand a chance with comedy. They don't get it. Their sense of humor is different. They have sense of humor, it's just not ours. And they don't get our gags, and the timing won't work. But there's certain things, like there's a lot that's done here, you know. Archer, which is one of my favorites, you know, it's done right here in Atlanta, all of it. They don't do anything overseas. So it depends on what type of production it is. I still prefer working out of Canada, and I've produced projects out of China and out of India, pulling my hair out. With Canada, it's fantastic.
It grew back great though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mr. Carter, for a keynote that you did for Georgia Game Developers for January 2017, you said that it mattered what you did the next 24 hours, the next week, and the next months.
Yes.
How do you decide which task is more important than the other one, especially when it's towards getting to your goal?
So excellent question. I'm glad you remembered that. So I'm a big believer in setting personal action plans for yourself, right? What are you going to do over the next 24 hours? What are you going to do over the next week? What are you going to do over the next month? What are you going to do over the next 90 days, which is a quarter, to help you move towards your goal? So what you're going to try to figure out is what can you accomplish, right? Forward progress is extremely important. Any football fans here, we know forward progress is extremely important. Momentum is extremely important. Momentum helps you because when you get discouraged, if you've already got certain things that are in motion, then it's easier to keep going. So the things that are most important are the ones that are the most essential to help you move towards your goal. Now, as you're making that progress, okay, so if you remember that keynote, if you went home and you actually wrote down on a sheet of paper your goals, then hopefully you went back and you marked off what you actually accomplished. Now, I don't know if you did or not, but I hope you did. And then I want you to do that again. And you can see as you're doing this every single week, or every single month, or every quarter, what you've accomplished the week before, or the month before, or the season before. You'll be surprised that, hey, I'm actually making forward progress, because all too often we only focus on the negatives, right? Again, life can be very negative, but it's very important to realize there are a lot of positives that are happening in your life. It's extremely important to be able to go back and see that in your own life, in your own habits, because it helps you develop more concrete habits. Does that make sense? So go back, pay attention to what's on your list in terms of your action plan, and then see what you accomplished. And then now, what are the major goals? Now, obviously you're here today, so joining ASIFA was a pretty big one, right? For you, what's next? What are you going to do tomorrow, between now and tomorrow, to help you move forward? What are you going to, I'm asking you, what are you going to do?
I guess what I'm going to do is about, network, find some more friends that are related to my field,
okay,
as well as more ways that I can still practice what I like.
Perfect. All right. So then, over the next week, what might you do? And then, what are you going to do over the next month? And what are you going to do over the next 90 days? Write that down, right? So by the time Labor Day kicks in, right, you'll have seen what you've accomplished through the summer. Make sense? Everybody, do that exercise. I promise it will help you. You'll be surprised. You'll be pleasantly surprised, because all too often we get distracted. I've got terrible ADD.
Really does.
Yes, I have terrible ADD. I've got a lot of things going on, and I will just get distracted, especially the more tired I get. But when I see what I've gotten written down, or what I've got written down, or when I see my calendars and I see what's crossed off and how I am making forward progress, it reminds me, hey, I'm succeeding in spite of myself. Yay, this is great.
I'm a big believer in working off written lists for that,
Yes.
for goal setting,
Yes.
but not just putting a major goal, because that always seems unattainable if it's just, I can't get that one thing to freaking mark that off. So you break that goal into minute little things, as many different steps as you can, so you can keep marking it off.
Yes.
It's great feeling of satisfaction when you can mark something. Oh, I got that done. So like you said, what did I do today? Oh my God, I got 10 things off my list. Those 10 things might have been, I called this person. I sent an email to this person. Not just what my main goal is, but every step you're going, which is going to change. Because, you know, a path to success is always like this. It's never a straight line. You say, oh, wait a minute, he's got something. I'm going to go over here. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, wait a minute, now you've got something. I'm going to zoom over here. So, and then there's a path between that. And I'm going to mark down, in fact, I do it to the point where if I finish something and I go to my list and it wasn't on the list, I put it on the list just so I can mark it off the list.
Yeah. That's important.
That's good.
But that energizes you to keep moving forward,
Yes.
because you see success. It's just success, and you want to give yourself those little steps to success all the way.
That was an excellent question. Thank you very much.
It was.
Next. Yes, ma'am.
Would you, since we're all starting out, would you say it's better to be like a generalist or specific?
Do what you know.
Do what you know.
My thing for me, like everyone's always like, oh, you got the VMA so fast and so early, because I knew I could. When I started VO, I wanted that job. I wanted to be the voice of MTV because The Real World Season 1 happened when I was still young, and I snuck down to watch it because it was so risque. But that's what I wanted to have in my life. And so you all, there's somebody here who will beat me out of a voiceover job because you know more about the subject than I do. Probably more like corporate narration, but you know something. You know a couple of things that you can speak about with great confidence and surety. And that's where I always say, at least we both say that, start off with what you know. You can at least, you've got that confidence to talk about it. Whereas, you know, we just give you a script about, you know, a LeSabre, you may or may not know anything about that, and then you're already in your head, you're gonna freak out, you're gonna get weirded out. So starting with what you know, so like when I was a vet tech, I know all the really hard words to say that are all the pathogens and bloodborne illness and all that kind of fun stuff. So, you know, that and MTV. So, you know, that's what I was focusing on.
That's an interesting question because we actually do have differing viewpoints on
We
this
do.
particular
A
question.
lot of that.
She is all about being a specialist in what you know and specializing. So in terms of like voices, she prides herself on the fact that she's got seven voices. 7 voices now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But I'm a big believer in always being able to work. You know, sometimes anime is not coming through for me, right? So Funimation's not calling, or whenever I go to Dallas, there's nothing for me. So I need to be able to work. So I've got to be able to do commercials, or I've got to be able to do corporate narration, or I've got to be able to do live announcing, or I've got to be able to do something, right?
But mine's more mastery. That when I say 7 voices, let's be clear about it's
Yes, she's a master.
Mastery of these 7 voices. And again, he can do a lot of different things. It's very impressive to watch him at a day of Funimation. I mean, seriously, when I was like, how different can this person sound? Truly, he just sounds big and loud. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, you know, truly.
I don't always sound big and
Well,
loud.
when we first went to Funimation, our first time going there, I was like, I'll come and say hi, and I'm gonna go shop. And I stayed for the whole 6-7 hour thing because it was amazing to watch them give them a script and be like, okay, now you're an intergalactic tiger mauling someone, go. You know, now you're Sig, who you only get to say is now you're 2 twins, and the only word you get to say is Nabu. And you know, I was like, oh my God, anime is so weird. But yeah, I mean, it was really impressive to watch that he actually does have all these shades to his voice.
You need to have many different tools in your tool belt, so that way you can always work.
And I always look at it, work begets work, but
Yes.
only within the industry. So
Yes.
anything you can do in and around the entertainment industry, not necessarily even just voices, but in and around the entertainment industry, everyone you meet can help your career.
Yes.
If you work at Walmart, that's not going to help your career at what you want to do. So sweeping floors at this studio will take you further than managing a Del Taco with what you want to do, because everyone you meet here could help your career.
Yes.
So anything you can do, anything in and around your career is the path to look for and just get in. So you have to pay the bills as you're getting started.
Mm-hmm.
So just try to be smart about it.
Yes.
What if you could do multiple things, but you don't really know what you want?
Try it all. I've had like
Fine.
7 or 8 careers as an artist in the
You don't
entertainment
know what
industry.
you can and can't do yet. Trust me. You don't know what you can and cannot do. You have no idea yet, right? You don't know what you don't know. So just try it. Don't shut yourself off. That's the biggest thing. People shut themselves off.
Oh, Yeah, I mean, and also be friendly and be willing to help. Terminus that's coming up next weekend. Yeah, this will be
CMF.
Yeah,
College Music Fest.
Right, but from the very first Terminus, I've been there and I've helped, and so they like us.
That's how we met. That's how we met. That's how we met.
I mean, it's been very giving because we were there to help. Yeah, we networked our butts off.
We were there to help, and we met people doing this, hosting this today. We enjoy this sort of thing because this is an opportunity for us to meet up-and-coming talent and animators. And someday when you guys are working for Cartoon Network, or better yet, Neighborhood Studios Network, or I mean, but my point is when you're working for some kind of a major animation company, you know who you can contact and what voices you can rely on.
You
in terms
remember
of
the
certain
people
quality.
that help. You remember the people that are
that you-
there that are not like just asking for. Because there gets to be a point where you just don't want to talk to anyone anymore because everyone's always saying, "Can I have something from you, please? I want something from you. I need something from you." And I'm like, I've got 3 small children and a Bob. So,
Well, it's like Bob and I get together for lunch every once in a while.
Yes.
And then we share. So
Yes,
what's going on?
just to
What
share.
have you heard?
Yeah.
And we just
Catching
share
up.
with each other, and we commiserate because we all deal with the same shit. The same crap comes up because we're all small business owners.
Yes.
We
Yes.
deal with the same kind of thing,
Yes.
and it's so great to go. Have you ever run into? Oh, I didn't. This is how I dealt with it. Oh, you and. But it's fun. It's fun to be able to talk to someone and talk shop on what
and
you
they
do.
Get it. And they get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, have you heard such and such is coming to town? No, I didn't. Well, that's great.
And make
You know,
introductions where we can make introductions for each other.
Yeah.
So, next questions. You had one. Yes.
When it comes to auditions and self-direction for auditions,
okay.
What would you consider your best suggestions for self-direction while auditioning?
Audition circle. No, I'd say you need to go to an audition circle. The problem is we're solitary creatures, and you don't know how good or bad you suck or are awesome until you attend one of these things. And actually,
Now I've never heard of this. What is this?
Okay, so I'm actually going to start one here in a couple of weeks, and it's where you're going to come. You'll bring your auditions that you gathered up or you saw or that you liked, and I also provide some. And it's just we sit in a circle and we sit in a circle and we're going to go through and you're going to actually read and I'm going to give you direction all over the map, and so you're going to get to hear how you stack up against other people, and not in so much of a competitive way, but more like, what did you think about with your technique and your delivery that someone else didn't, and what did they do that you're like, oh, that's interesting, I liked that. It's a good way to see kind of where you fit in, because again, you just don't know. I mean, when he told me I was a good voice talent, I was like, well, I don't know, because I'm not in the booth with anyone else.
She's a phenomenal voice talent.
I pay your
No. Listen, never, ever, ever compare yourself to this person, because most voice talents, it usually takes them one read just to get the sound, just to get the right sound of what this is supposed to sound like, right? And you'll usually get your correct take on your second or third. God help you, your seventh. But she usually gets it right the first time out. That is almost unheard of. That's like LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, straight out of high school, going straight into the NBA. Does not happen, so don't ever compare yourself to September in terms of booking work. It's like 1 in 5 for her. Don't ever compare yourself to her or her experiences.
That's
most
empathy.
voice talents.
That's empathy.
Yes, that's her superpower.
Yeah, honestly, that's.
But for most auditions, right? It might take you 1 in 20. It might take you 1 in 50. I mean, depending on the learning curve and what you're using in terms of your setup, your microphone, what you're auditioning for, how you're auditioning, the pool of talent that you're auditioning against. I mean, there are any number of factors when it comes to booking a job. Okay, so I mean, we can't talk about something like specifically right now. And you're asking about self-direction in terms of understanding what it sounds like. First things first, put it to music. If you've recorded yourself, put it to whatever you think the commercial should sound like, and then put it to music and say, okay, does that sound like a decent commercial? Would I buy something like that? Or would I, does it sound good? Does it sound worthy? Or no, it sounds cheap, it sounds cheesy, right? So that right there might help you.
But
I love what you're putting together.
Yeah.
Yeah, the audition circle,
truly,
it really helps.
It's for being able to get that experience of taking direction before you actually have to, your job's on the line.
Right. Well, plus you'll give them a response, because
yes.
when you're
Immediate.
they
No,
never tell
they
you
never tell you.
what if you sucked or not.
They never do.
And the other thing, and if you don't have access to or in between, because I would do, if I was a voice actor, I would do what you're talking about, because that sounds amazing. Find the friend of yours that's a dick.
Yes.
Very important.
Not your mom.
No,
Yeah.
no, your mom thinks you're great. Talk to the friend of yours that's a royal dick who doesn't care about your feelings, because they'll be specific. God, that was horrible. You want that kind of response because you don't learn from anything else. It's got to be the person that doesn't care about your feelings.
So my brother?
No friends.
Yes.
Okay, so you need to talk to his brother.
Yeah, so his brother's gonna come. Okay, got it.
That could be a great job.
No, really, the audition
Professional
circle. That we,
Yeah, no,
wanna
that's,
do the
um,
audition circle.
that's
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Or you know, we can do that one-on-one.
The only thing I
Coaching
beg is
consulting.
that if you want to do that on your own, that's great. But make sure you have one expert, because the blind leading the blind does not
Yeah.
help. And there are people, God help you all, that do that. And I'm like, well, that's just great. You know, it's not the same thing if you're all sitting there beginners and you have no experience. You're like, oh my gosh, this is so great.
Yeah.
You waste your time.
Yes.
Waste your time.
Yes, sir.
This is a question for all of y'all, but how
Blue
important
is
is
my favorite color.
That's good.
Mine too.
It really is. That's
how
wow.
important is mental health, especially when doing your jobs?
It's good to be a little crazy.
Essential.
It's good to be a little crazy.
What was the question? How important is mental health when it comes to doing your jobs? Extremely important. As a matter of fact, it is so important, that's why we offer yoga here, to help keep yourself centered and calm. Being in the creative services industry and being a small business owner, your life is a roller coaster, okay? Because you're trying to find work, you're trying to, you know, have some kind of income, you're trying to keep work, you're trying to still keep your passion and not feel ground down and depressed. And also with a lot of creatives, we're manic depressive, right? So you've got to deal with self-medicating and not doing that sort of thing. You've got to deal with keeping yourself positive, keeping yourself motivated. So a healthy body, healthy mind, healthy spirit, right? So it's very important to work out. It's very important to eat right.
Working out is so key.
Yes,
And
to
a
get rid of
therapist
stress,
is a
to
write-off.
channel your stress.
Yeah,
What's that?
yeah.
That's right.
A therapist is a
Yeah.
write-off.
Yes,
Sure is.
yes it is.
Write that bill off.
Yes, a therapist is a write-off, and we all need someone that we can that can help counsel us, or you need play therapy. That's why we game.
Well-
we run games here Mondays and Thursday nights, D&D.
And even that list that we were talking about, marking off those small little steps,
Yes.
is good for your mental health.
Yes, it
because
is.
it's accomplishment goal of your goal setting.
Yes.
You have to have little things like that and give yourself the, I did that.
Yes.
Even if it's a
So
tiny
important.
little thing,
Yeah.
So important.
that helps your mental health tremendously.
And because you're dealing with rejection every day.
All the time.
Every day, multiple times a day. I didn't get that. I didn't get that. I didn't get that.
And
Oh
you
my
gotta learn to
God, who are they
forget that.
sleeping with? Because that sucked so
Yeah.
bad.
You got to learn
Yeah.
to forget all about the rejections and all about the stuff that you didn't get, and only focus on the positive. Focus on what you did get. Focus on that forward momentum that I was
If you
talking
learn
about.
how to do that, let me know how you do that, because I
Now,
have
here's
not
how I
quite
look at
got
that.
it.
And it was actually something I learned in science class. But it's serious.
Um,
So how many times did Edison work on trying to find
Yes.
how to have the filament for a light bulb? Over 10,000 times. And he was interviewed and they said, how did you keep going? He said, it was failure after failure. He said, I didn't fail. I successfully found things that didn't work.
Yes.
And I kept going until I found the thing that did.
Right.
So how you look at something is also key. You're going to hear more no's than yeses, but it only takes one yes to take your career to the next step.
That's right.
So all you're doing is you're just getting through all that other shit. Okay, you said no, that's just another no out of my way so I can get to that yes. And if you can try to think of it that way, that's also, it's not no for you. It's never personal. We all have in our heads what we want to see or what we want to hear. What your voice is, or however many voices you have, is irrelevant to us. We're just, well, you haven't hit it. So I'm going to the next person. It's never, ever personal, even though it feels personal. And as the actor, there's nothing more personal than being rejected, but it's not. And you just have to understand, all we're trying to do is get through a lot of people to find and fill a space, because we have a very limited amount of time. So understanding the other side of the desk also really helps.
Yes.
Well, and also, you know, like in the Olympics, we are the gymnasts. It's all subjective. It's not a timed race where you know who the winner was. And that's why it's a little more difficult, because again, it's always subjective. And not even just your voice, it can be your name. So I mean, like, oh my God,
Yes.
his name is Bob. I just broke up with Bob. Bob's an ass, so I don't want to even hear, you know, oh, September, she's got to be some hippie 16-year-old, so I don't want to hear that person. So they might even hear you based on stuff like
You
that.
know,
So-
Jamie Foxx changed his name because of that very thing.
Yep.
He was not, Jamie Foxx, I don't remember what his actual name is, but he kept trying to get on open mic, and they would never put him up. And I don't remember what it was, but he noticed that the really hot girls were always getting time, and a lot of their names were either Jamie or Fox, oh, the Foxy ladies.
Yeah, yeah.
So he literally just made up a name,
That's awesome.
Jamie Foxx, and he got first time he used it, they called him up, and when he showed up, they were like, "That's not who we thought," but he was
Yes.
already up there, and he rocked it,
Yes.
and he
That's
kept
awesome.
he kept the name because of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
So, this is all new for me, but both of my nieces are interested in getting into voice acting. What
Yes.
kind of advice would you give for them? For someone who's younger and wants to get into
How
it?
old are we talking?
9 years old. That's great.
As a voice actor, actually saying that would be better than holding up fingers.
She's a little
So
tired.
shy? Oh, tired, yeah.
I understand.
Make sure that whoever you choose to coach her has experience with children.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a biggie.
they can play.
And a couple. Just make sure that you there's some things with kids you want to kind of have them be there with you to kind of be there with that whole situation, so that if she is tired or shy, it's only going to get worse if. There's a security blanket person is not there.
Right.
You can even have coaching in the home, but it's mostly having a coach who coaches, or at least is parent too. And truly, it's a little bit easier than like singing lessons and things like that, because you're just talking. I think it's great getting started at this age. Our kids started when they were 2 because they're expensive and they have to pay their way. So,
But for her, it'll be more on the technique.
Yeah.
But for you or the parents, it'll be about the business
Yeah.
side of things.
which
right?
is why we would say, we'll teach her, but you also have to come in so we can teach
You.
you how to market her, because she can't do that yet.
And
So.
finding the wrong person can ruin a career.
Oh, totally.
Any of you remember Clarissa Explains It All?
Yeah.
My wife produced that show. And if you remember Sam, the friend that would climb through her window, if any of you ever watched that show, you might have noticed between season 1 and season 2, Sam's acting changed. Because his parents took him to diction classes in between seasons. So he came back enunciating every single thing and didn't talk like a teenager at all. And they almost fired him for it, and they had to unteach him everything he had learned over the summer.
Wow.
That's
Mm-hmm.
good. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I think we have Ed being ready to.
Oh, we got it.
All right. Thank you very much. That was good. We're ready to go? Okay, so we are about to go next door, and we look forward to seeing what you guys made.